Welcome to another episode of VNture Podcast, your weekly source of visual novel goodness. I am Amar, and together with Tauros, we shall venture into another discussion about VNs. Recently, we had an episode about kings and rulers in VNs, but we would be remiss not try to talk to the king of whips himself. Welcome to the podcast, weebjail.
Thank you.
So yes, very nice to have you on board. And go ahead and give everyone a quick little self-introduction of yourself.
Yeah, thank you for having me here. I'm weebjail. People call me the king of weeaboos, and I have an unhealthy obsession with Steins Gate, but I talk about all things weeaboo on my YouTube channel.
Okay, I have to give you a warning heads up that I don't know anything about the whole science adventure series. That's more along MR's lines to a certain degree.
Okay.
So please don't spoil anything for me.
Okay, I'll try not to spoil it for when you inevitably read and or watch it.
I will. I swear, it's on my bucket list, man. It's a time travel VN. I love those. Someday I'll get to it.
Okay.
Okay. So so you mentioned you're a YouTuber, and you create and do all your own video editing for your videos yourself, right? How long have you been creating content?
YouTube channel's been going on for like 2-3 years or so. Yeah, kind of started in the middle of Corona. I was like, oh, well, what can I do to make video stuff and be better at making videos? And I was like, yeah, I could make a YouTube channel. Oh, actually, shit, I totally forgot. My first video was when I was taking a weeb class for like one of my last classes in university. It was on like a manga as literature. And then the last one we could do fucking anything we wanted. Do you mind if I swear? Is that
Yeah, go for it, man.
yeah. So we could do anything I wanted. So I was like, it'd be funny if I made wrote my last essay on domestic girlfriend and how it's like really deep and stuff. And then I read it and it was like actually like I was like, wait, this is like really good.
Oh man, you got baited in.
And then because of like Corona, like we stopped like going to classes and we didn't get in like all I got was a grade. I didn't get any feedback on my essay because I was like, and the entire point was to kind of troll the professor, right? And I was like, look at this. I'm like, well, I have to tell someone. And so like I made a YouTube video, and then there was like Corona, and that turned out pretty well. And so yeah, and then and it was Corona, so I just kept making more YouTube videos. That was kind of the start, I guess.
Yeah. But you had fun making that video and then pushing it out and seeing everyone else's reactions to it.
Yeah, totally. Actually, I took that off YouTube because it got like demonetized. So I took that off YouTube, and I'll probably re-upload on my second channel at some point. But I'm sorry, it's not actually on my YouTube channel.
Oh no! I mean, poor YouTube, squashing hopes and dreams. How dare they?
Yeah. It's gotta. I'd have to recensor it if I put it up.
Oh.
I mean, especially so that it's such a unique origin story, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that your origin story? I mean, obviously you were taking a class called like manga and literature in your class. What was like your entry point into manga, into anime, into visual novels? How'd you get started?
Oh god, my entry point into like weeaboo shit was like, it's probably pretty similar to like a lot of people. Like Death Note came on, like first aired, and I ended up watching Death Note, and that came on TV, and I was like, oh shit, this is like really good. And so I went home and like found the rest on the internet, probably pirated somewhere, and like watched the entire thing. And I kind of forgot about it or then I read like the manga, and then I kind of forgot about anime for a little while, and then I got into university, and then I was like, I should watch more anime like Death Note, and then I started watched more anime, reading visual novels, that kind of shit. So yeah.
And so you mentioned you're a huge Steins Gate fan. Did you get into that series with the VN first or the anime first?
The anime first. It was probably like one of the when I was like really started getting into anime. That was like kind of like you should watch this, and I watched it, and I was like, holy shit, this is really fucking good. And so I finished that, and then immediately read the visual novel, and then so yeah.
Oh wow, because like usually when you see like anime adaptations of visual novels, they're not all that great, and more often than not, they're kind of intended to be advertisements for the product. Like you have the VN and then there's the anime adaptation and it's cheap and stuff, and they're just like, hey, they're just getting the word out that there's a VN and you could buy this. But that always kind of like struck me as weird, because if you're going to put like a half-assed anime adaptation that doesn't really do the original justice, it's like, well, how is that gonna convince people to buy the visual novel? You're just giving it like a bad reputation out there. What gives?
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, a lot of them are shit. Because like when I did watch like every time travel anime, a lot of those, a surprising number of those, were visual novel adaptations, and basically all of them were terrible. So like, yeah, I don't know how that works out.
Speaking of which, that's like one of your most impressive videos you've got on your channel, dude. When you watched and then reviewed like every time travel anime out there. And it's like 2 hours long, and holy crap, you found all sorts of stuff, including a whole bunch of bottom of the barrel shows. How much of a struggle was that to make?
Yeah, that took a long time just to start watching, and then to try and I guess probably the hardest thing was trying to come up with something interesting to say about every single one, because most of them are just not worth talking about. So I had to like find some way to take the piss out of all of them, and I think it worked out pretty well. But yeah, that took a lot of effort.
Oh my god! I mean, that's just how many man hours is that to sit through like full seasons of content?
Yeah, some of the worst ones, I sped them up. I'll be honest with you. After a couple episodes, I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking speed this up to like 2, 3, 4.
Oh
It's
man,
not worth watching. But yeah, even with that was so many hours, because a lot of them are like long, like oh man.
Yeah, I can imagine. And it's quite impressive how you took your noblesse oblige to heart and you dedicated yourself to watch all of those animes for those peasants of yours that watch you. And then I have to say, you had amazing comedic timing, because I watched that video and the part I love the most is the bottom tier. I'll be honest, it's the bottom tier. I even don't want to spoil myself on the top tiers, but the F and D tiers is like peak comedy. And it just so happened that is the most filled with the VNs that turned into anime, or in case of Punchline, it's actually the opposite. The anime was first.
Oh, did that get turned into a visual novel? Oh shit.
Yeah.
oh
Yeah, it
man,
is.
yeah, that was
That was terrible.
that was a weird, messy situation.
I mean, it's different. And I think the word obtuse really is very well placed that you use.
It was, that one felt like it was trying so hard to be Steins Gate.
I remember Punchline came out after we got news that the Zero Escape trilogy was canceled. We just had Virtue's Last Reward, the second one that ended on a massive cliffhanger. So hearing news that the series got canceled was a huge blow. But the developer, or the writer, I don't remember off the top of my head, he was really pushing to get that third game released, and the management kept telling him no. So in the meantime, he did that show and VN Punchline, and all sorts of Zero Escape fans were watching it and like playing it to support him and get good sales to convince management to make the third trilogy in the Zero Escape. Oh, it was a wild time, man. Crazy.
Yeah. But it's just so crazy how memorable those bottom tiers are for me. And the average, the middle tier, like, it's more forgettable than the bad ones, even. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, and a little tangent, with an anime called Toukagetan.
I don't think I've seen that, no.
Okay. Because that's one of those infuriating, in a weird, good sense, anime that when I watched, I was fuming. That anime tested my patience, because the idea behind it is that it was aired in reverse. The very first episode was the last one. And then the second... I was so... But to this day, I remember that anime way better than most of the averages I watched.
Okay, so wait a second. You said the first episode was aired last. Do you mean like the last chapter of a story kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah, ending.
So-
It's on the first episode.
So
Yeah.
they just like completely flip the structure of the storytelling.
I'm gonna have to guess that was released what in like 2008, 2009. Is it my
Oh no, I think it's even older than that.
Oh, is it?
It's quite old. Yeah.
Is it older than Haruhi Suzumiya? Because that sounds like it like took Haruhi Suzumiya and was like, what if we do this, but like
Okay.
not know why that works?
Wait, I just checked on Mal. It's 2007. Oh my god.
Yeah, right after Haruhi. Okay.
Oh
so
my
yeah.
goodness.
Oh
That's what I
my-
thought. So,
When you learn all the
Holy.
wrong lessons from the hit series.
yeah, when you realize something good and when you copy it, but you put zero effort into understanding why it was good, you get that.
Ah.
That was like half the anime on the time travel tier list.
Oh man, that's a shame. Well, obviously, well, I don't know, maybe what you enjoy most about Weeb stuff is poking fun at all the bottom tier, F tier stuff. But on the upper end, at least, what do you like most about anime, manga, visual novels?
Yeah, I guess the thing, what my big thing about anime is, well, my thing is like anime is objectively the best, storytelling medium. But, visual novels that go up there too. Is it like you don't have any like restrictions on what you can do? Because if you shoot like real live people, you're put into those like box of what you can do, what kind of stories you can tell, and what actually looks like appropriate. But with anime, you can put literally anything there, and it'll be your start, right? So you don't have any like boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but all right. But with that being said, Your Excellency, if you were to decree one VN the greatest, what would it be?
Oh, well, I guess I have to say Steins Gate.
Yeah,
Exactly. Okay.
that was a little
Okay.
obvious. Yeah, Steins Case.
I made like 40 videos on Steins Gate. I have to say that. I'll be honest.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
need to read more visual novels. I've probably only read like 10 visual novels. So I really need to read more. But yeah, but I gotta say Steins Gate. It's just kind of Steins Gate is kind of the best.
Yeah, but have you read Zero?
I read Zero. Yeah, I need to read it again because I'm doing a tier list of every Steins Gate adaptation and everything.
Uh-huh.
So
Wow.
I gotta read the visual novel again. I remember
Mhm,
being pretty disappointed in it because in Steins Gate, like the main thing is that there's no real like antagonist. The real
Yep.
antagonist is the universe, and then Okabe. But
Exactly.
in Steins Gate Zero, it was just like, here's this guy and the Russians and X, and it's like, this is kind of lame. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I completely
yeah.
agree. But
Yeah.
I specifically asked you about reading the VN because I presume you also watched the adaptation, right?
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's so much better.
Yeah, I
But-
think I have to read the visual novel again because the adaptation is I think is like kind of terrible. The visual novel I remember being okay, but I'm
Really?
gonna read it again soon. Like,
Okay, so then I hold the opposite view that I feel like anime of Steins Gate Zero is better than the VN just because it cuts off the stupid parts. Let's call it like that.
okay, I definitely gotta get back to you on that.
All right,
I read
okay.
it when it came out, and I haven't read it again since. But I
Okay.
will read it again pretty soon. So.
You might not have read it or whatever, but what are your thoughts about the Steins Gate Elite?
Actually, I'm
Ah.
through reading it, because that's what I'm working on right now. I'm get to Steins Gate Zero after this, but so far it's it feels wrong. Like a lot. Like the thing is, they're using the visual novels from the anime, but all the voices and everything are from the visual novel, so a lot of it doesn't line up. And
Oh.
maybe it's
Wow.
because I've seen the anime and read the visual novel like 20 times. That I kind of notice every difference. So it might just be me, but like a lot of it, like the facial expressions and everything, and like the animation doesn't quite line up with the voices because they're using it from the visual novel, and the tone is like a little bit different. So
It's so weird.
Right, I had never considered that because obviously
Holy.
the main point you always see about people say is that you have the original visual novel and it's a re-release, and then they stuck in clips from the anime, which feels wrong, like you said, because the original Steins Gate had such a unique, watercolor washed out art style, and then the
Yeah.
anime is very typical anime-y.
Yeah,
But
it's less the style. It's just like the the animation is created like for a specific voice line, but they're using a different voice line. You know what I mean?
exactly, and yeah, I never realized that. Oh my goodness, you're not gonna have the voices line up,
Yeah,
and that's gotta be killer.
They edited it to line up, but just like the face is like a little different, and like the expression is like.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh, that's not good. I've never seen that. Well,
God.
Steins Gate Elite is kind of the only time you've ever seen this sort of thing happen with a visual novel, right? Where you get a work that just gets released with anime aspects from the show.
Yeah. So my recommendation is probably to read either the visual novel or watch the anime.
Yeah, because the closest I can think of on the top of my head is the real Tanua version of Fate Stay Night added the voice actor from the anime, but didn't change the art style of Fate.
Well,
Right.
and it's not like they added the voice actors from the anime. It's they hired the same people to keep the voices consistent.
True.
Yeah.
True,
Yeah,
true,
so
true.
I mean, it's still basically just, if anything, that's a good thing because you get to keep the same voice actors. So it's you don't get into flame wars online of who voiced Saber better or whatever.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, you mentioned that you haven't really read many visual novels aside from Steins Gate. But honestly, remember, quality more important than quantity, dude. It's all good. Are there any other titles you're interested in? Or I guess the cheater answer is: are there any other anime series you're interested in?
I mean, there's a shitload. I can tell you about whatever. Besides Steins Gate, my favorite, maybe, I don't know, Psychopaths is what I usually recommend to people. 'Cause that's like really fucking good.
Nice, yeah, Psychopath's really good.
Yeah.
The first season, the second season, not too much, but yeah, it was okay.
The second season felt like it was trying to be the first season again. In the third season, I only made it like halfway through. It was like the episodes were like an hour long, but they felt like they had like 20 minutes worth of writing in them. So I didn't make it to the third season.
Wait a second, there was a third season?
Yeah, there was a third season. It's not great.
Aren't there also movies in between the second and third?
There's a movie too. Yeah, I haven't seen the movie yet.
Okay, yeah, and there's a visual novel too.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of want to read the original novel. That's probably also not as good. But
I've heard it's also kind of blah.
I've read it. It's all right in places. I feel like it doesn't really fit the VN criteria the VN media. I feel like the route structure and the route idea for Psychopath doesn't really blend. That's not really what you want to tell in your story.
Yeah. Well, my view is that most sequels shouldn't be made, just because like a lot of time a story is written to be like it's like contained thing with like something to say and like overall feel the story, and then when it's finished, it's like that's it. But then it makes money, and it's like, well, how do we do more of this? And then they just kind of try to do the original thing but like again, and that like never works out. And it like sometimes it works, like if I don't know, you've seen Aliens, like that's really good, but like they're doing something completely different, right? So it's when you do something different than the original and like expand on it rather than trying to do the original again that it kind of works. That was like my main problem with the Steins Gate Zero, especially the anime, is it like the emotional high points were just literally the exact same emotional high points from the original, and I'm like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean?
Man. I mean, it's funny you mentioned that because that's right away off the top of my head. I thought of Danganronpa 2. I felt that it really just followed the footsteps of the first game, and that it never really tried telling its own story. Because that's what you should have to make a sequel good. It shouldn't just be a continuation where the first entry already tied everything up. It should be telling a new story, just in the same atmosphere, the same setting, maybe the same characters. Yeah. But, evolving in a new way. And so you're right, there's a lot of sequels that really kind of cheapen the original, huh?
I mean, that's true, especially since Psychopaths had a huge bar to pass after the first season. Mm-hmm. And like I tried to say, the VN tries to expand on it. It works with what they want to tell, but only in limited amount of routes. the choices doesn't really blend that much with the premise they try to sell, because still it's the measurement of your psyche by some sort of a gun, right? And the aspects that it has on society. It's fine. It's still the same premise. It is still expanded. You get a lot of inner monologue, which is probably the high point of VNs if they explore that. How such an investigator deals with difficult situation on the fly. Like, that's actually compelling. But the moment we go into choices and you can make some bad choices, not necessarily conducive to what they want to say.
That's an interesting point. Wait a second. You mentioned that there are bad choices and sometimes it gets in the way, of what the story is trying to say or the characterization.
Yeah.
Do you guys think having choices in a VN that affects the character's actions, do you think that ruins characterization?
I think it kind of depends, because in Steins Gate, for example, the weakest. Oh man, I guess I shouldn't try to spoil it too much, but the Ruka ending is the weakest ending, right?
No. Yeah.
And that's by far the weakest ending. But I think because it's you're showing what happens if he just kind of gives up and gives in to the universe. You're kind of seeing the bad outcome, so that also kind of builds on his character or Okabe's character development. So in that context, I think that kind of works. But it kind of depends what you do with it, because obviously if it's just kind of lame, then it's kind of lame. But in that case, it's a bad kind of unsatisfactory ending actually kind of helps build the story to be better.
Yeah, the easy answer to your question, Taurus, is it depends. Obviously, it depends, right? I feel like in Steins Gate, they had concepts in world to explore, and upon that, you could develop either a character or the settings, so you can glimpse into what could have been if you strayed off the path. But ultimately, the highest and biggest characterization in a title that tries to guide you toward true end will always be on that path. And that's the case of the Psychopath VN, because there is this should be the true end. Then the other divergences don't really work that well, in my opinion.
So, of course, whether these bad endings, whether these mischaracterizations lead to something that builds toward the true ending, or whether they're just kind of pointless waste of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's a good way to view it.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. Yeah,
that's good.
And you already know my stance. I don't like bad ends anyway, so.
Anyways, back on topic. We had a cool discussion and stuff. Back on topic about weebjail and about your cool videos. I've noticed that you show up in several of your videos as you yourself, and you're standing in some very Japanese picturesque locations. Do you live in Japan?
Yes, I live in Japan. I've been here for 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years.
Yo, that's super cool. Oh my goodness. What are some of the coolest? What are some of the coolest parts about living there?
To be honest, it feels really safe. I'm from Canada, and that's pretty. I mean, that's a pretty safe place. But even some places, walking at night, you're like, oh, this is kind of sketchy. I've literally never felt that here, ever. it's weird. You can walk in. I mean, maybe if I was a woman, that might be different. But speaking of, as a dude who's pretty tall, I've literally never ever felt unsafe going anywhere in Japan. So that's one thing. And then it's pretty convenient is another thing. Trains and shit. And then the cost of living here is so much lower. Salaries are a little bit lower too, but my apartment is like a fifth of what it would be in Canada.
Oh man, yeah. Talk about going from one of the worst situations on that front to one of the best.
Yeah.
Oh man, but okay. How I guess what led to the whole living in Japan sort of thing? What part of your life's led up to it, and were you looking forward to it, and what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just I just felt I want to I've been living in the same place my entire life, and I figured I want to go somewhere and to another country and learn the language there and experience something else. And then in order to do that, I wanted to learn a language of somewhere that doesn't speak English. And so I considered a couple places. I'm like half Chinese, so like I'd considered China, but not China. I considered like Korea, and then I realized that everything I like about Korea is on the internet. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, Japan then, all right. And then so yeah, and then I started learning Japanese, getting to more weeb shit.
Okay, and an intersection between those two topics. Do you feel like your sense of wanderlust and adventurousness led to you employing skits in your videos? Because I freaking love those. Like the one I keep remembering is about the clubs in the time traveling anime. You made a joke that in this anime everything is a club, and you were doing a skit. Yeah, no, it's nothing shady. I'm actually doing the extracurriculars for self-pleasure crap. So that was comedy gold.
Goodness gracious, MR.
Hey, this was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, wait, what was the question? I just thought that would be funny. So what was the question?
What inspired you to do skits?
Oh yeah, no, I just thought it would be funny if I did this, man.
Okay.
Comedy's hard, man. You never know when you get a good idea. And sometimes you think you got a good idea, and then you go do the recording, you bust your butt for it, and then other people look at it and they're like, "You." And you're like, "What? This is gold. What do you mean?" Oh.
So, but that one was kind of awkward because I obviously had to go into a public bathroom to shoot that, and then and it was like, so like I made sure no one was in there, and I recorded it, and then like a guy like walks in, and I'm like, oh shit. I mean, I don't think he speaks English, so it's not like he knew what I was saying. But it's weird, talking about jerking off in public.
Oh dear, you don't have a buddy to stand guard and warn you if anyone's coming in.
Yeah,
that's the perils of making your own content creation.
Yeah, if they don't understand what I'm saying, I can kind of play ignorant.
I hope the Webmaster, you are proud of yourself because you made my backlog longer with those terrible VNs. Because now I'm intrigued.
You want to read?
You actually want to.
Yeah, now I want to read those. Okay.
The bad ones?
Yeah.
Good. I don't know.
Oh dear.
They're like really bad. I think Noah Novels recently did a thing on the Island visual novel, and he says that was also terrible. So.
I mean, I also added Island to backlog, so great. Thank you.
Good.
Your mind is an enigma, MR.
I mean, I guess sometimes the bad shits where it's like I'll be honest, the really bad ones were a lot more fun to talk about than the mid ones.
Like I told you exactly, yeah. And I keep remembering about those. And the middle tier, on the top of my head, I couldn't remember. Nope.
Yeah, because I mean, like some of them are fun to write about because it's like, okay, I can't really write about anything interesting, so I just have to find something interesting to say. So in a way, that was like fun to write, but also, it was a lot easier to take the piss out.
And I'm doing chores in the house, right? So I'm putting your episode. I have my headphones wireless, and I'm listening. So imagine my horror when I go back to the office and I see the first thing I see from your video is the Alice, the 3D horror one. Oh my god.
That one Alice, I put an F tier, but like that's like really fun. That's a fun movie, and like if you like movies that are like so bad they're good, that's up there. Like that one I actually do recommend watching. Like I could put an F tier because it's like that bad, but it's the top of F tier because you should actually watch it. It's fucking hilarious. It's that bad. Like the other ones are just like painful, but that one is so bad it's good. It's really good.
It looped all the way around. I feel you.
Yeah.
Okay. On a different note, let's see. I really wanted to ask you that you picked out Japan because you didn't want to go to a place where it already spoke English. You wanted to learn a new language. What did you do to learn a new language, especially one as different from English as Japanese?
I guess I fucking studied a lot. like one of the first things I did was learn kanji really hard because like if you learn kanji then it, like the rest of the language is like a lot easier to learn. And people think that kanji is like, oh, it's like hard to learn, but like really it's actually like easier than learning English, because the only thing with kanji is you can actually visualize really easily how much you don't know, and that's where a lot of people get like hung up. But like really, it's like you're just like memorizing like a bunch of pictures, and there's only like so many building blocks. And then like say you're learning English, right? If you're learning like a new word, like just because you can pronounce the word doesn't mean you know what it means, right? So like learning kanji isn't really like any different, and in fact it's easier, because if you know the kanji, then if you're presented with a new word and you know what the kanji says, then you will know what the word means just intrinsically, right? So like learning kanji is like, actually easier than like not learning kanji. But like, just because you can see like what you don't know, like a lot of people like perceive it as like really hard, but it's not actually that hard to learn it. So, yeah.
Okay.
And then so I've been using WaniKani. I'm a big fan of that to learn kanji. And then I really recommend Bunpro for learning grammar and shit, because that I made a video on it like a couple years ago, and it's only gotten like better since then. So that's really good.
Okay, because I'm a huge fan of WaniKani too, and I've unfortunately been very on and off about it because life gets in the way sometimes. You know how that goes. But you mentioned Bunpro to learn the grammar.
Yeah, and that's really good if you use WaniKani, because you can integrate it to WaniKani, so that it'll not show you furigana for any kanji you've learned through WaniKani. So it's like really good for that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, when I came to Japan, I studied for a year at language school, so that was like kind of helpful. Just like for like there 4 hours a day, actually like being like forced to use Japanese, and that was really helpful too.
I think they want to say like the best advice is for learning a language is immersion. You just kind of sink or swim, right?
Yeah. If you're in a country that speaks it, it's a lot easier to actually go and use the language. You kind of still have to put in the effort, right? Like a lot of people come here and then they kind of revert to using English, which is like, you don't want to do that. I mean, obviously, like people, it's like, oh, just immerse, bro. But like, your brain can only handle so much of a foreign language. But at the same time, if you're somewhere, if you put yourself in a situation where you kind of have to use it, you'll learn it a lot easier, right?
You were going to ask something, Amar?
Yeah. I was going to say, speaking of learning languages, and imagine, because weebjail, you made a point that you imagine those as pictures, right? And collection of pictures will formulate either a word or a sentence in Japanese, right?
Yeah.
So that's your process. But my anecdote would be that for the longest time, with the English language, there are some interpretation you can do very wrongly. And for the longest time, mine was, okay, don't laugh, but it was man's lot laughter. Now take them together.
I'm sorry? Can you say that again?
Manslaughter?
Yes, manslaughter.
Oh, no.
But you can read it as laughter, right?
That is true.
Okay.
I think you got hung up on one of the few words out there that looks like two separate words. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, Amar.
Yeah. I didn't know you could go to jail for laughing, okay?
Yeah. It looks like that. But yeah, with kanji, if you know what the meaning of the kanji, then you kind of know what the word means. Like maybe not the exact context in what it's used, but like in general, you can kind of just like like if I'm reading a book and I see the kanji and I like see the sentence it's in, like even if I don't know the word, I'll probably know what the sentence means, right?
And I mean, there's a certain degree of that in English too, or any other language, where if you know enough puzzle pieces, pretty sure you can piece together the context. But obviously, like you said, some languages and some words are easier about it than others.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And would you recommend living in Japan to anyone else out there who might be interested in a tourist trip or immigrating in?
I recommend coming to Japan. As far as anyone like living here, if you like anime and you wanna come to Japan because you like anime and visual novels, I'd say give up. The amount of work it takes to get to like even a basic level of Japanese.
My god,
is kind of ridiculous. So, I mean, I guess any language really, but especially like English and Japanese are so like far removed from each other that like really like just use subtitles.
So you're telling me I'm not gonna live out all my cool anime dreams? Or I'm gonna go to high school and I'm gonna get hit by a bus and reincarnated into an isekai and I'm gonna save the world? None of that happened to you yet?
No, not yet. Although,
Oh no.
on the flip side, I can read old PC 98 visual novels, and like that will never get translated to English. So that is a plus. I will
Hey.
admit. That's 'cause
Nice.
I've been. I don't know if you read but I've been reading Xenon, which is like by the same two dudes, and like it's like really good. I like it better than actually. It's really good.
Nice. How often do you get asked by your friends and coworkers or whatever to translate something into English?
Sometimes I was working at as an English teacher, so like obviously I was like, the go-to English person in the school. So like sometimes, actually, funny story about that. They were like asking me about the slogan for the sports day, and it was like they were like, okay, how is like it's our turn? And I was like, oh, that's like pretty good, but like it'd be better is if you would fuck, I just forgot the English. It's it's our time to shine. I was like, if you say it's our time to shine, that's like kind of the same thing but better. And then they didn't use that, and I was like, huh. And like a little while later, I was like, oh, because like if you write out shine in Japanese, it spells shine,
Yeah.
which is die, which is like a really bad word in Japanese. And I was like, oh, that's why they didn't use it.
I was like, did you tell them the shine written in English? Oh no.
Yeah, I mean it'd be written in English, but yeah, if like a Japanese person reads that,
Exactly.
they'd see shine, right? Like,
It's gonna read it as shine, and it's gonna be like, go die.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
That's why they didn't use it. Okay.
Oh, that is unfortunate. That's a reminder we can always improve our language skills.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, okay, I think that's a good note to wrap this episode up on.
Okay.
Thank you again so much, weebjail, for stopping by and telling us about your cool YouTube channel and your time in Japan and all sorts of funny stories. It's been a blast having you, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, happy to come back anytime. Yeah, it was really fun.
Yes, it was a pleasure to meet you, your weebness.
Thank you. It was a new one, your weakness. I'll tell my people to call me that.
Do you plan to have any more YouTube videos in the works?
Yeah, actually, Attack on Titan, the final episode just came out, so I actually have to edit that today. Because I've been sitting on this video for like a fucking year and a half now. Because they had the final season, and they had like final season actual final, like part 1 and then part 2. And
Final season.
I think this is like actual final part. It just came out.
Oh yeah, the Attack on Titan thing's been a running joke, right? How many the final seasons there's been?
Yeah. So that should go. Hopefully that does well, because like I'm pretty proud of that video. So.
All right, so everyone check it out on weebjail's channel when it comes out.
Yeah.
Give him the boost.
And then,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm currently reviewing like every single Steins Gate spinoff.
Oof.
So that's been fun. There's been some good ones, some less than good ones.
I can imagine.
Yeah. There's the Steins Gate Isekai. I think you're using the thumbnail. That was the best one, which is I was surprised by that, how good that was, because I was like, okay. They turned Steins Gate into an isekai harem, I guess. There's no way that's good. And then it's like the best spin-off, and it's like, okay, what the fuck happened?
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Well, I'll be waiting eagerly for that video, especially for all your phenomenal skits. In the meantime, thank you once more, and venture out.
Venture out.
All right. Thank you for having me. Venture out, dude.